If you have watched Suits, you would have probably come across this character called Avi Specter. Someone who never walks into the room unprepared, who's always confident, sharp, and one step ahead. What if someone builds an AI version of Avi Specter? And you won't believe me, someone actually did. And it's a company called Harvey AI, who are one of the fastest growing AI companies today in the legal industry. It's not the story about Harvey AI, but it's actually the story about how they convinced one of the most skeptical industry to trust them and accept them. Let's dive deeper. Today, every company wants to sell AI. Your email app has AI, your note taking app has AI, and even probably your toothbrush will soon have AI in it. But selling AI to consumers is one thing, and selling AI to enterprise is a completely different game because enterprise doesn't fall into hype. They look for clarity and certainty. No industry questions technology more than these three, and they are healthcare, legal, and finance. And our AI comes in this category. Because in these industries, a single mistake is not just inconvenience, but it is going to cost millions of dollars in losses. It's going to risk many people's life and it will violate many regulations. So when an AI company goes to a law firm and says, hey, this is our AI, it's going to optimize your system or help your lawyers, they're not going to ask where should I sign the paper or what is the cost of it. But first thing that they'll ask is that how can I trust you? And that's the question that got me thinking. How does Harvey AI actually sell AI to lawyers? Because they're not selling another productivity tool or some SaaS company, but what they're selling is trust. And that's why I decided to reverse engineer the old GTM strategy and to understand the system behind it. So in this video, we're going to break down what Harvey AI actually does, why selling AI to lawyers is so difficult, how Harvey's public GTM motion works, where I think the biggest bottleneck appears as they scale, and finally, I'll build an AI powered GTM system designed around solving that bottleneck. So let's get started. So before we understand how Avi sells, let's have an idea about what Avi actually is. So Avi is an AI platform built specifically for legal professionals. And instead of replacing lawyers, it really helps them out. So if you imagine or think about the work a lawyer does every single day, it is pretty much like reading hundreds of pages of contracts, researching previous cases, preparing legal documents, and then reviewing complaints and also finding different types of risk hidden in thousands of documents. So imagine reducing these hours of work into minutes. That's what RV actually does. It automates different type of repetitive works that these lawyers do every single day. And today it is being used by some of the world's largest law firms across dozens of countries. And that is pretty impressive, right? And what really interested me was that how do they even convince one of the most conservative industries in the world to actually adopt AI? That was what really made me to think and question why. Because legal firms aren't like startups; they don't so easily accept changes, or they don't experiment stuff so easily, and they don't even change things even if the system is outdated, because they follow those decade-old traditional methods and pathways, and they really don't get out of it. So how did this AI company actually break into this world, this legal domain, and how did they even crack it? So for that, we have to understand the GTM strategy. So let's get to that. So most people think that enterprise GTM is actually about generating more leads, but I really don't think that's the real problem. Because if you imagine, let's just imagine you are an account executive at
Take this down to Judge Miller right now.
and tomorrow you have a meeting with like one of the biggest law firms in the country, and before the meeting, you have to prepare contacts. You have to set a contact, and you actually have to answer questions like, what kind of law does this firm specialize in, or who are their biggest clients, which partner is leading innovation, have they publicly discussed AI or any other tech, or what security concerns might they have, or which departments will evaluate the product, and then who are the decision makers. So only after understanding all of this, you will be able to get an idea and set a context and then have a very good meaningful conversation. So this is not just about a meeting. Even when you're doing outreach, the message that you send should set a context. It should have a proper you should have a proper idea. Only then you can send the message and reach the right person and convert it. So for few, when you're doing this in few in number, it will be very easy. But when you multiply that, then that starts to scale up. When you do it across hundreds and thousands of profiles, that's where actually the bottleneck is. Why? Because when in scale, this becomes a huge problem, and that's the bottleneck. The real bottleneck is not generating leads, but it is for it's in preparing for every conversation, and I actually believe that's why the enterprise GTM slows down. So it is not a problem with sales rep or account executive. It is not they aren't good enough, but it is in scale. There's a huge problem in every company's, especially in the enterprise GTM. So let's first solve this bottleneck, but before that, we'll first understand the current GTM or the go-to-market motion of RV. So I started to publicly map RV's public GTM motion. So I noticed something very interesting. The process is actually about not selling software. It's more about building trust. Why? Because as I said, that the legal domain is one such industry where they're not so easy to change. So they have a lot of questions. Even if you bring one of the most powerful or efficient systems, still they're going to question you. So the most very important fundamental thing is about building trust. Only then you can gain their confidence and convert them as your customer, as your client. So the workflow or the flowchart actually looks like this. First, it is your target account, the target audience or the target account, the people you're targeting. Then the research about them. Then it's about the discovery part. Then it's about creating the trust. Then it's the pilot, and finally it's adoption. So this is the workflow, and this is how the steps go on. And every step is there to reduce uncertainty and to make sure that we're not pushing a sale, but we're giving an idea that what if AI handled everything. And that gave me the idea. What if AI handled everything before the first meeting? Not replacing the salesman, but helping the salesman. And that's the very important difference. So the goal isn't just automation, but it is more of preparation and setting up the context. So I've designed a complete GTM intelligence system around this idea. So let's see how it works. Solution. This is our solution. So first you have to understand that why we are using this methodology. See, in normal cases, even last time we saw about a signal-based outreach. So in normal outreach, when you're doing with a SaaS product, the thing is that you'll either find a signal, you'll find a pain point, and based on that, you'll create a personalized message and send them through mail or LinkedIn. But here in this case, we are building a trust engine. We should collect necessary evidence, the context about the company, and every details about the company, so that when we send them an outreach, it will be not just a personalized one, but it will be a detailed approach, creating them trust and confidence, and giving them a complete context on what a company is going to do. So that is why I've designed this kind of a workflow. And general cases, an account executive will do this manually. He'll go to different sites, the company's website, and find all these details. But here we have automated the whole process. So let me just walk you through it. So what we have used is that first we are using a webbook. So this is the account intake part. I've filtered out every part separately so that it will be easy for you to understand. So first part is account intake part. So here we are taking the input. So I've created a mock UI. I'll also show you the mock UI in demo part. So from that mock UI, we'll be getting all the details about the company, maybe the company website or a small detail, a description about the company. So just when you click on the research account, you can enter all your details, and then it will automatically be sent to our N8 webbook. And the webbook, you can see here that we have received the data. So once we get all the data, then we have to validate it. So I've used a code node to validate all the data. So you can see here we have just taken whatever is necessary. Then we're checking whether the account already exists in Supabase. We've connected it to Supabase, so I'll also tell you how to connect it. So see, as last time we used PostgreSQL node, this time we're directly using Supabase. So here you can go to Supabase site, go to Supabase, and go to settings, project settings, and here go to settings and go to API keys. So here you can find your secret key and also the publishable key here. So copy the secret key, and also here at on your home page itself you'll be showing the Supabase your production URL. So copy this and just paste it here, and it will automatically be connected to Supabase. So once that is done, so we are using this to just check whether Supabase already exists, and then we're using if statement to see whether the account already exists or not. So in this case, the account doesn't exist, so we're creating a new account. You can see here in Supabase we have created it. When you go to Supabase, you can check it out here. Go to database, and this would have come in contacts, I guess, in accounts. So when you check in accounts, yeah, so this is the one we sent to web.app. So it has, you can see the timing. So it will be created in the table. So yeah, we have created a table. Um,
So yeah, so through this we've created a new account based on the data we received. We've created in Supabase. You can check it out in Supabase. So you can go to accounts, and then accounts you can find it. So these are the newly created table. So you can check it here. So yes, it's created. So let's move to the next node. Okay, so once we have taken the account intact, so this is the part of where we have received the data from our mock UI, and then we have checked whether it exists in Supabase, and then now so once the account intake part is done, we are moving to the next very important phase of account research. This is a phase where we're going to scrape all the data from the website, and we're going to do a complete research about the company. Okay, so let's see what tool we're using here. See, first thing is that we're using a code node to get whatever data we need for the account research. So here you can see that we have taken only the necessary data, like the company name, the domain, and the target market, and this is the data we're going to send to this site, so that the agent that we're using here is Firecrawl. So Firecrawl is it is a site which has different types of agent, and it is generally used to scroll and scrape data from websites. So that is what we're using here. So you can get the API from Firecrawl, and I've used an HTTP node to connect Firecrawl and scrap the pages. So you can see here, you can directly connect your account here. So just enter the API key and the URL, and your account will be connected. So yeah, once it is done, this will be the place where it's going to get the details about the website, and then we're using a code node again to classify or uh, to categorize only the important pages, because there will be a lot of pages, home page, pricing page, different other pages. So we'll be classifying here what page it is and what page we need, and based on that we'll be scraping out the pages. So next case we're seeing a loop node. So why the reason why we're using a loop node is because we have to scrap each and every page, because company website would have around 20 to 30 pages, so we have to scrap each one. For that page we're using a loop node. So the first so once we get the URL of the page, we'll be sending it to the scrap page, and so you can see here. So this is the home page. We've scrapped all the details here. Okay, so once we scrap it, then we'll again save it in the database. So we're storing it here. So you can see here, it's stored in the Supabase, and then again the loop will go. It will again run. Second page will be scrapped. Again it will be saved in database. Again third page it will save in database. This will continuously be running. So this is why we're using a loop node. So till the last page is scrapped, the node will run, and only when it is done, it will move to the next stage. So when it is done, it automatically moves to the fetch evidence. So this is where all the evidence, every evidence that we've collected. So in this case, we just collected one evidence. But when the loop runs, there will be around 20 to 30 evidence, and everything will be collected, and it will be combined here. So once that is done, we're going to combine all the data together as one single data input. Okay, only when we get a single data input, we'll be able to move it or send it to our the LLM that we're using. So this is the next part, which is the account intelligence part. So here you can see that we're using ChatGPT, the OpenAI LLM, to get data from. So in this case, N8N has given us few credits. So if you use N8N Cloud, you'll be getting free credits, or else you can use your own API key and connect your OpenAI API key to this. So you can see here, we have given the prompt, we have set the prompt, and we have set the context for our LLM. And based on this, it has created the company summary and the outreach. It has got as ICP score and different other whichever you set in the prompt. Again, a code node we are using. So okay, so again we are the code node is just to set the context and properly segregate it. So once that is done, we are storing to combine all the evidence, and we are going to move to the next phase. So this phase is the account intelligence phase. So this is where we'll be combining all the evidence. We've already combined all the evidence. We are going to send it to an LLM and get a structured account brief about the company. So that's why we're using OpenAI's LLM here. So you can directly connect it through the OpenAI node. It's available in the add option. So once you add the node, you can see here either you can connect your own API key, or you can also use the free credits that N8N has given. So this is only for the cloud. You're using N8N in cloud, you'll be getting these credits. So select your model and then give the prompt. So I've given a complete prompt here, and then I've set all the metrics here. So once that is done, you can see the output here. So it is given us the evidence gaps, the ICP score, and also a complete summary about the company. Again, we're using a code node here to just segregate and set it properly. You can see here, and then we'll be storing it in the Supabase. So the account brief is stored in our database. So yeah, so this is the intelligence part. So once it is done, we're moving to the next very important phase. We're going to map the personas out. So these are the decision makers. Maybe it could be the legal, maybe the top the C-suite people, or the technical CTOs. So whoever is the decision makers, we are going to map them out here. So yeah, so we're using an LLM here to check out the persona. So we've given a complete prompt, and it has given us who are the personas: the CEO, the operations head, the IT manager, the sales lead. So based on the company and based on our context, has got us the people from it. And yeah, so we'll be again setting the segregating it properly. So for that purpose, we're using this node. So you can see here, it is created into 4 tables, and it has segregated all the data. So once that is done, again we're using a loop node. Same case, we have to in next page you can clearly see that we want to create an outreach strategy for each person, and that's why we're telling that we want to do something personalized for each person. Maybe for CEO it will be a different response, for head of sales it will be a different different response, and for CTO it will be a different response. For that case, we're using LLM again here, and you can see it based on the pain point, based on the research we have done. We are sending message to each person separately. So this will be for the CTO. Maybe it has created a complete outreach strategy. Yeah, it has created a complete strategy from the recommended messaging, the outreach angle, the discovery questions, the objection handling, the plan, and even the opening message. Maybe if you are sending it through LinkedIn, it has given us the opening message and also the sales angle. So it has given us a complete strategy. And this is the outreach. Next, we have to create the outreach message. So yeah, this is the outreach message. Maybe if you're sending it through mail, we have the subject line, unlock scalable solution for Kello, and then the opening line. Then we have our the body, and then the CTA, and also for LinkedIn it has given. So this is why we're using LLM here. Maybe in next 3 days, let's also see a couple of free options, because here OpenAI would be a little expensive, especially when using it in a loop, and when you're getting so much evidence and scrapping so many leads. So maybe in next videos we'll see some cheaper options. Okay, so once that is done, we are sending it for a human approval, because as I said, we always have a human in the loop. So I've sent it as a mail. So for example, I've received the mail here. Yeah, so this is a mail. So you can see here, I received the mail. So maybe the sales rep or the AI will get a mail, and once he approves it, automatically. So yeah, once it's approved, we're using if mode to check whether the person has approved or not. If he has approved it, then it will go to the outreach part, or else it will again get back to our generation part. So yeah, so once the human has approved it, we are checking whether they've approved or not. So once they've approved it, we're moving to the next phase. So this is where we'll be sending the mail, we'll be sending the outreach, we'll be doing the outreach, and then we'll be storing it in the CRM. So we have sent the mail. Currently, I'm not using I'm not setting up any campaign, or I'm not using any third-party tool. I'm directly sending it as mail. But in most cases, you have to either use Instantly or any other tool to do the outreach part, because if you send it through mail, it'll automatically go and go to spam in most cases. So yeah, so we have sent the mail, so you can check it here. So the subject line and the mail has been sent. Then we've connected HubSpot CRM to it. So directly we're using the HubSpot node. So just connect the HubSpot account, and we're storing it in HubSpot. Yes. So once we store it in HubSpot, we're also notifying the sales team through Slack. We connected Slack. In last video, I had shown you how to connect Slack, and we've also updated our database. And finally, we'll be sending all these details back to our website, the mock UI. Okay, so this is the complete workflow. So I hope you have understood. So from the account intake, then we are doing the research for each account. We're collecting all the evidence. Then we are doing the account intelligence, where we'll be getting the account brief about the company, and then we are finding the decision makers, and then we are creating an outreach strategy to reach out to each decision makers personally, and then finally we are sending the outreach and also updating it in CRM and sending notification to the team in Slack. So this is what we've done, and this is the complete workflow. I hope you've understood, and hope it was useful. In upcoming videos, let's see more detailed workflows and how we are solving other companies' bottleneck. So